Liverpool fans, the transfer window is heating up and there is a growing sense that something important could be developing behind the scenes at Anfield. Two names have attracted particular attention in recent reports. Paris Saint-Germain winger Bradley Barcola and Aston Villa defender Ezri Konsa. They are completely different players. They would solve completely different problems and the situations surrounding them are not at the same stage. But both stories are interesting because Liverpool are looking to maintain a squad capable of competing for the biggest trophies, and these two players could potentially play an important role in that ambition. Let's start with Bradley Barcola because his name has generated some of the biggest excitement among Liverpool supporters. The French winger has developed into one of the most dangerous young attacking players in European football. His game is built around explosive acceleration, direct running, intelligent movement and the ability to beat defenders in one-on-one situations. When Barcola receives the ball in space, he can turn a quiet attacking situation into a dangerous opportunity within seconds. That kind of quality is exactly what makes him attractive to a club like Liverpool. Barcola's development at Paris Saint-Germain has been closely watched across Europe. He has had to compete with some of the biggest attacking names in world football, yet he has continued to show that he belongs at the highest level. His ability to operate from the wing gives his team another dimension, especially when opponents sit deep and try to deny space. Instead of simply passing the ball sideways, Barcola can take responsibility, attack his marker and create something himself. That is one of the reasons Liverpool's reported interest is so interesting. Liverpool have always valued attacking players who can combine technical quality with speed and intensity. Barcola fits that profile extremely well. He can stretch a defence, make runs behind the back line and create space for teammates. He can also move inside when necessary, which makes him difficult for defenders to predict. The reports surrounding his possible move to Liverpool have become even more interesting because of the player's reported attitude towards the transfer. According to reports attributed to Fabrizio Romano, Barcola is open to joining Liverpool, and there has been reported progress regarding his personal terms. If accurate, that would be an important development because getting the player's approval is often one of the biggest parts of a major transfer. However, there is a very important distinction that Liverpool supporters need to understand. A player agreeing to personal terms or being open to a move does not mean the transfer is finished. And the clubs still need to reach an agreement. In this case, Paris Saint-Germain are the club holding the strongest position because Barcola remains under contract with them. PSG are not a club that needs to sell their best players simply because another team wants them. They have significant financial resources, they compete for the biggest trophies in Europe, and they can afford to demand a very high price. That is why the transfer fee is expected to be one of the biggest obstacles between Liverpool and Barcola. Some reports have suggested an enormous valuation, with figures around £145 million being mentioned. Whether that exact figure would ultimately be required is another question because transfer negotiations can change quickly. Asking prices and final transfer fees are not always the same thing. But the reports make one thing clear. Liverpool would have to make a very serious financial commitment if they want to take Barcola away from PSG. This is where the story becomes particularly fascinating. Liverpool may believe Barcola is worth a major investment, but the club also have to consider the overall balance of the squad. Spending an enormous amount on one attacking player could affect other transfer decisions. Liverpool would need to decide whether Barcola is the right player to justify such a significant financial commitment. There is also the question of PSG's own plans. The French club are believed to be considering other attacking options, and if they strengthen their forward line, the situation surrounding Barcola could potentially change. More competition for attacking positions could affect his role, but it could also make PSG more willing to consider a sale if the right offer arrives. At the moment, though, that remains something to watch rather than something that should be treated as confirmed. And this is where we need to be careful with transfer news. Social media can move incredibly quickly. One account can claim a deal is done. Another account can say negotiations have collapsed. And within a few hours, fans can be completely confused. The safest approach is to separate reported information from official confirmation. As things stand, Barcola is not officially a Liverpool player. Until Liverpool and PSG announce an agreement, the transfer should be considered unfinished. Now let's turn our attention to Ezri Konsa because his story is very different. While Barcola represents attacking speed and creativity, Konsa would be a signing aimed at strengthening Liverpool's defence. The Aston Villa defender has established himself as an important Premier League player and has also become part of the England setup. His experience in English football is one of the qualities that could make him attractive to Liverpool. Konsa is not the type of defender who needs to make spectacular challenges every few minutes to get attention. His game is based more on positioning, composure, physical strength and reading situations. He has experience playing against Premier League attackers and understands the pace and physical demands of the competition. For a club competing at the highest level, that experience can be extremely valuable. Liverpool's interest in defensive reinforcements would also make sense from a squad-building perspective. The demands placed on defenders at a club like Liverpool are enormous. They have to deal with fast counter-attacks, high defensive lines, difficult European matches and a long domestic season. Injuries and suspensions can quickly expose a lack of depth, so having another reliable centre-back can make a significant difference. Konsa could potentially provide exactly that. He has the physical qualities required for Premier League football, but he also has enough technical ability to contribute when building from the back. Liverpool need defenders who are comfortable under pressure because their style often requires defenders to participate in possession rather than simply clear the ball. But once again, fans should not confuse reported interest with an agreement. The Konsa story does not appear to be as advanced as the Barcola situation. There have been reports linking Liverpool with the defender, but there is no official confirmation that a deal has been agreed. The potential price is another major issue. Reports have suggested that Aston Villa could demand around £60 million for Konsa. That is a significant amount of money, particularly for a defender. Villa would naturally want to protect the value of one of their important players, while Liverpool would have to decide whether the investment makes sense for their squad. There is also competition. Arsenal have previously been linked with Konsa, meaning Liverpool could potentially face another major Premier League club if the transfer becomes serious. Competition can change negotiations because clubs may be forced to act faster if they believe another team is preparing an offer. For Konsa, the situation could therefore depend on how the market develops. If Liverpool decide that strengthening the centre of defence is a priority, they could make their interest more concrete. If they choose to focus their resources elsewhere, the transfer may never progress beyond discussions and monitoring. That brings us back to the bigger picture. Why are Barcola and Konsa being discussed together when they play completely different positions? The answer is simple. Liverpool are trying to build a squad capable of competing on multiple fronts. A team that wants to challenge for the Premier League and go deep in European competitions needs quality throughout the squad. Barcola would improve the attacking options. His pace could give Liverpool another way to hurt opponents. Imagine a Liverpool attack where Barcola receives the ball on the wing, faces a defender and immediately attacks the space behind him. That kind of threat can force defenders to retreat, which creates more room for other Liverpool attackers. His movement could also be important. Great attackers do not only influence games when they have the ball, their movement without the ball can drag defenders away from their positions and create opportunities for teammates. Barcola has shown the ability to make those kinds of intelligent movements, and that is part of what makes him so exciting. Konsa, meanwhile, would bring something completely different. His presence could give Liverpool another dependable option in the heart of the defence. Over a long season, having quality alternatives can be just as important as having star players. A club cannot rely on the same 11 players every week, especially when the schedule becomes crowded.